3 years ago, my wife, Emily, left me and our 8-year-old twins. After losing Emily, I was at rock bottom, drowned in grief. I had no motivation to do anything and lacked the confidence to protect my children without Emily around. There was someone who stood by us, me and my children. Without this person, I don't think I could have raised my children. But now, that person has to leave my side. I still love Emily, and I should celebrate the happiness of this benefactor. Yet, I find myself deeply confused by my own feelings. During these times, it was an unexpected group of people who gave me the push I needed. My name is Liam. I'm a 35-year-old worker at a company that sells nursing care supplies. Living with my twin daughters, who are now 11 years old and in the 5th grade. Both are girls, named Anna and Leah, who look a lot like Emily. Lately, they seem to be into romance comics and often say precocious things, but they are good kids who actively help out. Emily passed away in a traffic accident 3 years ago. Emily, who had left for her usual part-time job. On the day of the accident, I had left for work earlier, and Emily had told me see you later, as she always did. But that was the last time I would hear her voice. By the time I rushed to the hospital, Emily had already passed away. I don't remember much right after Emily's death. Although I was in shock after suddenly losing Emily, I only thought about supporting the children. While I desperately arranged for the funeral and took care of the children, days seemed to pass by. I remember clearly that the children cried a lot. At the time, the children were in the 2nd grade. They were 8 years old. They were not of an age where they didn't understand anything. I think they understood that they were saying goodbye to their mother. I hugged the crying children as long as time permitted and tried to devote as much time as possible for the children. I cooked, albeit far from matching Emily, as well. My cooking wasn't very good, but the children ate it without complaint. I think they knew they could no longer eat their mother's cooking. I wanted to be as close to the children as possible, but I also had a job. Although I had some savings and the insurance had paid out, so we weren't short of money, I couldn't lose my job as a single parent. I gave it my all to work, household chores, and parenting. I didn't want my children to be financially crippled, but I also didn't want them to feel lonely. Such thoughts kept me going. But I think I reached my limit. One day, 1 month right after Emily passed away, I fell ill. Unfortunately, at that time, I had no one whom I could easily ask for help. I grew up in a single-parent household, and my father was elderly, so I couldn't ask him to take care of the children. Emily's parents, my in-laws, were dealing with my MIL's long-term illness, and my Phil was supporting her, so they couldn't take care of me or my children. Feeling dizzy and ill, I was still determined to push through because I was the only one my children had. It was at that time that Emily's younger sister, Molly, came to our aid. I heard from Mom that you're not feeling well, Liam. I bought a bunch of things. I'll make dinner for the twins, too, she said. Molly, Emily's sister, is 6 years younger than me and works as a tutor. She used to visit us often, talking with Emily and playing with my children. Emily adored her younger sister, and my children also loved her a lot. But after Emily's death, the only time I saw Molly was at the funeral. Actually, Molly had offered to help, saying I'll come and help, but I had turned her down. I was afraid of becoming dependent if I accepted help. I thought I had to do everything by myself, because from now on, it would just be me. I felt dizzy from the fever, but I tried to refuse the help. I'm fine, I can handle it. I think the fever will go down soon. Leave the kids to me, I said in a weak voice. Then, Molly said, no, rest, you need to rest. I'm worried not only about the twins, but also about you." Her angry voice reminded me of Emily. Emily often scolded me like this. It felt oddly nostalgic. Then, I was taken to bed against my will. While I was asleep, Molly prepared meals for my kids and took care of chores like laundry. Molly had come in the evening, but when I woke up, it was already past 10 p.m. She had even helped the kids with their bath and prepared for their school the next day. My children were already asleep. "Molly, I'm sorry for everything." I felt helpless. "I have to keep going for Emily's sake." I sat dejectedly on the living room couch. But suddenly, I heard the sound of cooking from the kitchen. Turning towards the kitchen, I saw Molly, back to me, perhaps reaching for a plate. She was wearing Emily's apron. Watching Molly in the kitchen, tears started rolling down my cheeks. Perhaps it was because I was reminded once again that Emily would never be in the kitchen again. Once the tears started, they didn't stop. Thinking about it, I hadn't cried at the wake or the funeral because the children were present. I couldn't cry. This was the first time I cried since I lost Emily. I let my tears flow for a while, and when I calmed down a bit, Molly asked me to move from the couch to the dining table. When I sat down, Molly placed a steaming bowl of chicken soup in front of me. "Here you go." Prompted by Molly's voice, I clasped my hands together and said, "Thank you." This was the first time I was eating a meal cut just for me since I lost Emily. It's delicious. Ever since I lost Emily, I had lost the taste for anything I ate, but this chicken soup was delicious. As I ate, Molly casually picked up a photo from the living room. It was a photo from when we all went to Disneyland. A picture of the kids happily playing. "You've been pushing yourself too hard, haven't you?" Molly, still holding the photo, looked at me with kind eyes and said, "The kids are a handful, with work and chores. You're overdoing it." I couldn't respond to her valid point. "Am I not doing well enough?" Molly disagreed with me. "The exact opposite. You're trying too hard," the kids told me before bed. "Dad is always working so hard, but they said you looked very tired." Hearing that, I covered my face with my hands. I had made the children I should be protecting worry. "I'll help you. I live nearby. Let me help protect the kids with you." But, Molly, you have work too, right? I don't want to take up your valuable time for our family. We'll be fine." When I said that, Molly sat down across from me. "When Emily passed away, did that mean she was no longer part of your family?" "Absolutely not. Emily will always be a part of my family, a very important part of mine and the children's family." Molly nodded with a smile. "I'm glad, that's right. Then my relationship with you all hasn't changed either. Just because Emily's gone doesn't mean we say goodbye. The people who were important to Emily are also important to me." With tears in my eyes, I lowered my head. "Thank you, really, thank you." Feeling guilty, I also felt a profound sense of relief. It felt reassuring to know that I could depend on someone else, someone who would protect my children along with me. "No need for you to do everything on your own. I am here," she said. Since then, Molly has been coming to our house every 2 or 3 days and cooking meals for us. She watched the kids on my overtime days and even did the school runs. The children's smiles started to increase gradually. It gave me some breathing space and allowed me to get my emotions in order. Even after 3 years, Molly has been helping our family without fail. Although she comes over less frequently now, on off days, we often go out together, just me, the kids, and Molly. To the kids, she might feel like a much older sister. I enjoyed the relationship I had with Molly and hoped that this lifestyle would continue. However, I was soon made to realize that was wishful thinking. By my aunt's words, there's a good marriage proposal for Molly. Why don't you meet him? The aunt was my father's sister. She would come to visit our house about once every few months with various gifts. Usually, she brings candies the kids liked, but that day, she brought a marriage proposal for Molly. It seemed that even Molly was hearing it for the first time and looked surprised. No, I can't possibly go for an arranged date. When Molly hesitantly said this, my aunt seemed to get a little annoyed. What are you saying? You're already 29, aren't you? If you keep looking after Liam and the kids, you'll miss your chance to get married. The kids have gotten used to living as a trio, and they probably don't need you to help them out anymore, right? I panicked. I still wanted Molly to help out at our place. It wasn't even about the housework. I just didn't want to lose the time spent with my kids and Molly. But as I was about to say that, a picture of Emily, my deceased wife, caught my eye. It made me realize something. That I felt happy spending time with another woman in the absence of Emily. Once I realized that, I felt guilty towards Emily. I could also understand what my aunt was saying. Molly was still 29. If a good opportunity comes along, she should date and perhaps start a family. If she keeps coming to our place, I'd be restricting Molly's possibilities. So, I forced a smile and said, Molly, don't worry about us. Why don't you go for the arranged date? You might meet someone nice. But Molly was still hesitant, but my aunt pushed forward the conversation almost forcefully. It's settled. I'll get in touch with you about the schedule. Molly was not eager, but after being persuaded strongly by me and my aunt, she seemed to have decided to give the arranged date a try. All right, I'll give it a shot. Hearing Molly's reply, my heart ached a bit, but I pretended not to notice. My aunt has always been proactive. Molly's arranged date was set for 2 weeks later. On the day of the arranged date, I was feeling anxious in the living room of my house. Despite having sent her off myself, I couldn't help but wonder what kind of man Molly was meeting and what they were talking about. I couldn't sit still thinking about it. The ones looking at me with cold eyes were my kids who were reading romance comics sprawled out on the sofa. Dad, stop pacing around. Get a hold of yourself. I was taken aback by my daughter in his reprimand. Not because I was scared, but because she was just like Emily. Mom always used to say, didn't she? Falling in love is a wonderful thing. You shouldn't lie to your own feelings. Dad, aren't you lying to your own feelings? I was flustered by the words of my daughters, Anna and Leah. What are you talking about? I'm not doing anything like that. I noticed my voice was sounding pitiful and small. The girls put down the romance comic books they were holding and faced me. We're in 5th grade, you know. We're not little kids anymore. We understand. You like Molly, don't you? What, you like? What are you girls? I was incredibly embarrassed talking about love with my daughters, but they seemed exasperated by my reaction. Stop treating us like kids. Some of us even have boyfriends, you know. We can talk about this stuff. Don't be so shy. I was speechless, surprised by how precocious these modern elementary school kids were. Are you worried about us? Our mom is, well, just our mom, but we love Molly. She's been there for us when we were sad or happy. Molly can't be our mom, but we think we could make a great family with her. Listening to their conversation, I was oddly moved. I thought they were just a sloppy kid who liked romance comics. But to think they had grown up enough to say such mature things. You girls, you've really grown up, haven't you? I stroked their heads. But they recoiled from my touch as if trying to escape. We told you, stop treating us like kids. I looked at my own hand hanging awkwardly in midair and gave a wry smile. But Dad, you should go. Your crush might get taken by someone else. That's right. We can stay home alone for a while, okay? You don't need to rush home. Take your time on your date. I glanced briefly at Emily's portrait, remembering her smiling face. She was always the type of person who would scold me when I was being pitiful and push me forward. The kids seemed to have taken after their strong-willed mother. They say kids grow up fast, and I guess that was exactly the case. And so, pushed forward by my kids, I rushed off to the matchmaking event. During the entire conversation with my kids, one woman kept coming to mind. It was Molly. She'd made me porridge, rushed to the kids' school events, made lunches for sports day, even sewed costumes for the school performances. Molly was always there for us. I wanted her to continue to be there. There was no one else at the matchmaking venue but Molly. When she saw me, her eyes went wide. Liam, Molly, where's your date? Molly gave a self-deprecating laugh. I told him I had someone I liked and ended it early. Wait, let me say it. I cut Molly off. I'd been dependent on her all this time, playing ignorant while knowing our feelings for each other, scared to face her. If I kept being so pitiful, I'd get scolded by my kids again. And by Emily too. I had to be the one to talk. Molly, I love you. Molly looked at me, her eyes on the brink of tears. Is that, as a sister-in-law? I met Molly's gaze. Seeing the tears in her eyes, I understood I had made her wait because of my cowardice. As a woman, I'm sorry for making you wait. It was pitiful. The kids scolded me. They said they think we could make a great family. I feel the same. Please stay with us. Our family. I'd fallen in love with you too, but there was a part of me that felt guilty, as if I was stealing the happiness that should have been my sister's, as if I was taking something that should have been hers. At that moment, I remembered Emily during her lifetime. It was when our family and Molly went camping together. Watching Molly playing with the kids, Emily had said something. I've come to know the joy of being a part of a family. I hope someday a man will appear who will protect my little sister. And if my sister and the man she loves become part of our family, I think I would be happier than anything else. Now, I believe Emily must be watching over us with a smile. I chose the person because she was the one who wanted me, my children, and my precious sister to be happy first. When I told Molly about this, she laughed through her tears and nodded in agreement. Molly knows Emily's kindness just as well. Shall we head home? I held Molly's hand as we headed home to where the children were waiting. A few months later, Molly and I got married. Our dating period was short. We have been like family to me, so we didn't need a lengthy dating period. When we told the children we were marrying, they said, "If you make Molly cry, we won't forgive you." Molly has always been like a sister to us, but now she's family. Even if you two fight, we'll always side with Molly. Hearing these words seemed to put Molly at ease. It seemed she had been anxious about whether they would accept her marrying me. I felt the same joy. I wanted to make Molly happy, and I was grateful to realize that my children felt the same way. Time passed, and then came our first wedding anniversary. Molly gave me and the children presents. Thank you. Can we open them? Of course, open them all together. Molly told us to do so with sparkling eyes, so my children and I opened the presents all at once. Mine looked like a letter. A travel voucher, perhaps, but when I opened it, there was an ultrasound photo inside. I was in complete shock. Then it seems Anna and Leah had opened their presents as well, and they let out a loud exclamation. These are baby clothes. Wait, a baby. In Anna and Lee's hands were a baby's outfit and a bib. Both the children and I were surprised and turned to look at Molly. Molly smiled softly, touched her belly, and said, "Our family will soon be growing." The children, who had been annoyingly clamoring for a younger sibling, were overjoyed. Without even knowing the baby's gender, they were already thinking about names. Watching the two of them, I gently touched Molly's belly. "Molly, thank you so much." Molly then leaned into my ear and shared a fact. The due date, it's August 10th. In that moment, I thought of Emily. August 10th was our wedding anniversary with Emily. I think our sister is watching over this child. I nodded repeatedly to Molly's words. I still miss Emily, but I want to keep building happiness with my family. I believe this will make Emily smile too, who is up in the sky. What did you think? Subscribing to our channel will motivate us to create more content. See you in the